Conservative new media viewers, JLin fans around the world, what's up? It's me, PFV, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. We're here to discuss Brooklyn's 90-89 defeat tonight to the Detroit Pistons in Detroit, Michigan. Brooklyn falls to 16-59 on the season. Detroit improves to 35-41. Brooklyn has now lost 2 games in a row, and both of them were close losses. What happened in this game was Brooklyn was leading by 3 points, I believe, heading into the fourth quarter. And like the Philadelphia game, they were outplayed in the fourth quarter. It was close. They were in it. They had a chance to win this game. They made a nice run late in the game. But then Detroit got the final run of the game. I think I want to say they went on like a 5 or 6 nothing run when they were down by 4 points. And that was a deciding series, basically, of series of events that was the final outcome of this game. That's, like I said, like the Philadelphia loss, it was difficult. I will say that Brooklyn played a lot harder tonight. Neither team was very effective offensively tonight. Both teams seemed a little tired, just not at full energy. But Detroit was able to kind of right the ship enough down the stretch, and Brooklyn just came up a little bit short in that department. Statistics quickly. The Ish Smith, who is now starting at point guard for Detroit in place of the injured Reggie Jackson. 21 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Marcus Morris, 28 points, 13 rebounds. Contavious Caldwell-Pope, 12 points, 3 rebounds. Looking at the Nets, off the bench, Sean Kilpatrick, 15 points. Spencer Dinwiddie, 11 points. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, 14 points, 9 rebounds. Brook Lopez, 11 points, 9 rebounds. Brook had a really tough shooting night. He shot only 4 of 17 from the field. JLin, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Jeremy played 31 minutes, which is the most he's played in any game since he has returned from the 3rd hamstring injury. Tonight was his 18th game since returning from that injury. Shot 6 of 14 from the field, including 1 of 5 from three-point range, 1 for 1 from the free throw line, 1 steal, no block shots, 3 turnovers, 1 personal foul. Jeremy's plus-minus was a +0. And he had the second most points on the team. Sean Kilpatrick, 15, and Jeremy and Rondé each had 14 points. Overall, I will say that Jeremy did some nice things in this game. And he's still struggling with his outside shooting a bit. And he had a tough moment or two down the stretch of this game, which was what happened to him in the Philadelphia game. I think Jeremy just seems a little bit out of rhythm right now. Just a little bit off his game on offense. And it could be anything. I mean, I don't know why it's happening. But his shot's not exactly on target right now. And he seems to be just struggling a little bit to get his points. That being said, he played really well in the fourth quarter. The only negative things, I think, were he had 1 turnover, and with the Nets down 3 points with about 5 seconds left, Brooklyn took a timeout and he set up a play. The play was, I think, a double screen, so 2 screens set up to free Jeremy for a 3-point shot opportunity. And he ran from left to right, received the pass, and then the pass squirted out of his hands. It was not officially a turnover on Jeremy. In that situation, the turnover goes to the person passing the ball. But Jeremy could have handled the pass. he got double teamed. Like, he could see the double team coming really quickly. And I think he tried to make a move before he had secured the ball. Also, I'm not sure, but I think Jeremy had a difficult defensive play late in this game where Ish Smith ended up with a wide open three-pointer. I don't know if Jeremy was guarding Ish Smith at that time. So I'd have to go back and look at the video to determine if that was the case or not. Because I think later in this game, they had someone else guarding Ish Smith. So I don't know if Smith was Jeremy's man at that time or not. So couple things here and there, just like in the Philly game. As we said, it's not the end of the world. This is what happens. There are, again, you have good stretches, you have tougher stretches, and this is what it is. It's unfortunate that Brooklyn's lost these last two games. Both of them were winnable, and it's a shame, but it's rather lose now and learn now than hopefully not lose next year when we may be able to see the Brooklyn in more of a position to go for the playoffs. Another thing that happened in this game late was, in the second half, and definitely down the stretch of this game, was the Pistons were using Contavious Caldwell-Pope to guard Jeremy. We've seen this a number of different times by opposing teams, which is they put somebody bigger who is a good defender against Jeremy. And the thinking is, if we shut down Jeremy and contain his passing and his scoring, then Brooklyn's going to have a hard time beating us. And so what's going to need to occur for the Nets is they're going to need more talent and skill from the other players around Jeremy. Because if the opposing team wants to make it hard for Jeremy to beat them, they can do that. They can either put a bigger defender on him, like what they've been doing. They can double team him. And so it's going to be important for Brooklyn's other guys to be able to make plays and be able to do things. So it's not all just on Jeremy's shoulders. Because this is what opposing teams are doing. They're basically daring the other guys that are on the court with Jeremy to step up and beat them. And it's a work in progress. This is why guys like Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, like Karis LeVert, both of whom are young guys working on their skills, they're going to have to improve. Or Brooklyn's going to have to get more talent in the summer or sign guys with a lot of talent and ability, so that if Jeremy is focused on, or if Brook is focused on, then you can move and pass the ball to somebody else, and that guy will be able to pick up the slack and get it done. And it just, right now, we're not there yet. These younger guys still are working on their skills. Rondé still needs to work on his shooting and so forth. And so this is what you get. This strategy has worked so far. Not all the time, but it's a sound strategy to use against the Nets right now because of where they're at in terms of their talent level and their skill development level. Now, I mentioned that Jeremy had in this game 4 assists, and he also had about 12 would-be assists. And this goes into what I just said about this strategy. If you're going to make it difficult for Jeremy to score, and therefore he's going to become more of a passer, then the guys who are receiving the passes have to be able to finish plays. They've got to be able to hit jump shots, or if Jeremy's giving them the ball around the basket, they need to be able to finish layups or dunks. And that was difficult tonight, and it was difficult in the Philly game as well. So as I said, this is why teams use this approach. if they think that some of the other guys might not be able to play as well or perform as well as Jeremy can, then okay, make them have the ball. And as I said, it's an effective strategy for now, but it will improve. Even if we have the exact same roster next year, it's going to get better. Guys will get more used to one another. They will work on their abilities. They will get stronger and so forth. But for now, it's unfortunately we're going to have some wins, but we're also going to have some losses like the last couple games as well. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, I can't. Jeremy's been having a tough time with his three-point shooting for the last, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 games, somewhere around there. And so the percentages come down considerably. He has had a couple tough moments late in games. Overall, though, he's doing his thing. I mean, he's what's good to see with him now is he's not at the top of his game, I don't think, and for the last couple of outings. But he's still playing well, even though he's not at the top. You know, a bad game for him now is like 11 points and, I don't know, 3 or 4 assists. So his level, even when he plays with not at the top of his ability, the results are better than what they used to be when that was the case, when he didn't play at the top of his ability. So kind of the water levels rising in the bathtub, even though it's not where we want it to be right now. That's pretty much it. Like I said, he just needs to, would like to see Jeremy be able to do is I'd just like to be able to see him score easier. Or sometimes it seems like he has to work incredibly hard to score. Whether it's the jump shot is off or he's driving to the basket and he's not getting a foul call, or he's having a tough time getting his shot off on his drives. And as I said, it comes down more and more to the outside shooting. The better you can shoot, the easier it is for you to score, and the harder it is for you to defend, and the less energy you have to spend scoring. And you just have to keep working on it. Keep working on it. Keep working on the one-on-one moves so that you can get yourself enough space to get your shot off the way you want to be able to get it, and so forth. And yeah, I mean, the improvement curve continues, and that's kind of where we're at tonight. But like I said, overall, he played well, and he's making plays. He's doing what he needs to do. It's just a combination of what his limitations and his effectiveness combined with the limitations of his teammates right now. And we just want to be able to expand all of those limitations, and it's just going to take time. And some nights are better than others right now. That's pretty much all I have to say about this game in terms of like an overall summary and how Jeremy did. Let me look at my notes quickly. I don't have many notes tonight. My first note in the first quarter is Jeremy needs to get his offense and shot in gear. It's what I'm saying, which is it's a little bit of a struggle for him these last few games, and that primarily has to do with his outside jumper just not being on, and it's just what it is. It just sometimes it's there and sometimes it isn't. I also made the note that you will see Jeremy where he'll go for drives and he'll get knocked down, or he's looking for the foul and he doesn't get it. And you just have to be careful with that. Even if he should get the call, and there's many times where he doesn't get the foul call and he should get it, you still have to keep your head in the play. In other words, if you fall down or if you lose your balance, then if the referee doesn't make a call, you're out of luck, because then you're out of the play. So you have to be, it's a fine line between selling the call and then putting yourself in a position where you're you're putting yourself at a disadvantage if the referee doesn't make a call. So I think that's something you still keep working at that, and hopefully he'll get more calls going forward. I think he will, but hopefully that will be the case. Third note I have is that the bench is not getting it done again. So this is another situation where none of the starters had a negative plus minus. So all of the starters, including Jeremy, were at worst a +0, meaning they were neutral. Whereas 4 of the bench players had negative plus minuses. So as in the Philly game, the bench struggled a little bit. And I can't really tell you why that is. Maybe it's because they're using KJ McDaniels a bit more, and Sean Kilpatrick was out, and now he's back. Maybe it's not. Maybe they're a little out of sync in terms of their rotation and the chemistry, but hopefully that'll get fixed soon, because the bench is, we know the bench is a big part of what Brooklyn does and how they play, and they need those guys to be able to help them get victories. And they're just in a little bit of a slump right now. Yeah, and I made a note, I said this in the Philly game, that Sean Kilpatrick was dominating the ball too much. And he did that again in this game. He was in with Jeremy late in the second quarter, and there's a couple of times where Sean was handling the ball, particularly one time, and I think Jeremy wanted it, and Sean just kept it. Again, I'm not against Sean Kilpatrick at all. I like Sean quite a bit. He's a very talented player, but Jeremy's a better ball handler and passer than Sean Kilpatrick is. And so it's kind of like when Trevor Booker decides to bring the ball up the court. It's better if your point guard does that. So this is something where we've talked about earlier this season, that team is, and the players individually, they're trying to kind of figure out their roles. Who should be the guy in control, and when should I give the ball to this guy, and when should I try to take over, and so forth. And I think Sean Kilpatrick is kind of trying to figure that out. And I think right now he's a little too much. He's kind of putting it on himself a little bit too much. As in, okay, let's scale it back a little bit and give the ball up a little bit more. And that's probably about where it should be. But like I said, when you have young guys and inexperienced guys, they don't know that yet. They still have to figure that out. And they have to be shown stuff, and the coach goes over it with them. And so it's kind of a growing and developing process. And so you're going to have some miscues and some, maybe a little bit, again, domination of the ball where there shouldn't be, and so on. Okay, moving on in the fourth quarter. I don't think Jeremy had 2 scores in the fourth quarter. He had no missed shots. As I said, he had 1 turnover. He had 1 assist, and he had 3 would-be assists. So, again, the only negatives in the entire quarter were 1 turnover and then the pass that he was not able to handle. Offensively, those are the only mistakes. Still, he had no misses, 1 assist, and a couple scores and a couple of would-be assists. If he had any other mistakes, it was defensively. And like I said, I would have to check that again. I would have to see who was guarding whom. So he didn't play poorly. He just, you said, we're so used to Jeremy playing exceptionally well. Maybe today he played good instead of super good. And I think that was kind of the case with Philly also. Now, down the stretch of this game, I mentioned already that Caldwell Pope was guarding Jeremy, which, again, it's a common strategy now to have the bigger guys and the better defenders on him. And then finally, my last note is, down the stretch of this game, the last few minutes, the lineup that Coach Atkinson went with was Jeremy, Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, Rondae Hollis Jefferson, and Brook Lopez. So rather than Randy Foye being in there, they went and instead with Spencer Dinwiddie. We've talked about this earlier this season, which is go with the 3 ball handlers and 3 playmakers as your closing lineup, and that's what they did here. And look, it's a good strategy. It just, again, tonight it wasn't quite enough. And when you play with that smaller lineup like that, and that's more skilled lineup, but particularly in this case, a smaller lineup, then on defense you can switch a lot, which gives you more flexibility. And that's another good reason to do it. So it's a good strategy. It's just like I said, it's just the last 2 games, the Nets just, they haven't been at their best. They haven't been in full form. And look, it's just going to happen. I mean, they were playing so great. They were 7-8 in March. They looked amazing. They've come a long way, but they're still a young team. They're still a new team, and there's still going to be some stumbling blocks. There's still going to be some setbacks, and so this is not unexpected. This is not surprising that this happened. And I can tell you that Detroit was favored in this game by 6.5 points. So Brooklyn beat the spread. They actually did better than what people thought they were going to do. It's just it's too bad that they weren't able to win, because they had a very real chance to win this game. And that's kind of where it sits right now. So that's all for this game. Let's talk about the next game coming up, and that game will take place 2 days from now. Saturday, April 1st. It will be in Brooklyn, New York, against the Orlando Magic, and the game will take place at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Orlando is another team that's beatable. They are the 2nd worst team in the Eastern Conference by record right now, so the only team in the East with the worse record than them is Brooklyn. I can't remember all their statistics right now, but just they are obviously a team that is Brooklyn can beat. I don't know who's going to be favored in the game. My guess is it'll be a relatively close line. Probably Brooklyn will be favored. So, look, let's just go out and try to get that win. Let's put these last 2 games behind us and just go out and try to get the victory. The good thing with Brooklyn tonight, as I said, they did have more effort. It just the offense didn't click tonight, but they did play harder than in the Philly game, and they did have a good surge in the 4th quarter. Like you could see, they really were focused and they wanted to win. It's just that Detroit got the last run of the game, and that was enough for them to be able to defeat Brooklyn tonight. But let's try to right the ship. Let's try to get a victory against Orlando, and then we just go from there. That's all for now. Hope you're having a great night or great day wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. Take care. We will talk to you again in about 48 hours from now. Brooklyn Nets host the Orlando Magic Saturday, April 1st, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Talk to you then. Have a great 48 hours or so between now and